Number 11a, determine the values of a, b, and q such that 4x squared plus 7x plus 13 is equals to a into x plus b squared plus q. When you are given such a question, then they want you to determine the value of a, b, and q when they are expressed in this format. So we need to focus on the left-hand side where we have 4x squared plus 7x plus 13. So our first step will be that we need to factor outside 4 so that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So when you factor outside 4, inside will be left with x squared. But remember, this one wasn't a fraction, it was 7. So when you factor outside 4, then we will have 7x all over 4. If it was 5 and we factor outside 5, it would just be over 5. If it was 11, then it would just be over 11. Then plus 13, which will also be 13 all over 4, is equals to 0. So note that when you factor outside 4, for x squared, it will remain to be x, the coefficient of x squared will be 1, but the others will now be all over 4. Now the next thing, we need to complete the square. What is inside this particular bracket? We need to complete. So to complete a square, we always take b all over 2 squared. But now for our case, a is the coefficient of x squared and b is 7 over 4. So we need to take 7 all over 4, then you divide by 2 squared. So 7 all over 4 and you divide by 2 is the same as 7 all over 4, then times 1 all over 2, because 2 dividing by 2 is the same as 2 over 1, so it's just like multiplying by the reciprocal. So this is 7 over 8, 7 over 8, that when you square, you get 49 all over 64, because 8 squared is 64. So this term, you add to 7x plus 4, and you also add to, you also subtract to 13 all over 4. So we'll have 4, this one, into x squared plus 7 all over 4x, then I add 49 all over 64. For that case, I've completed the square. Then we had 13 all over 4 here, then you subtract 49 all over 64. If you look at it carefully, it's like there's nothing we have done. We've just added and subtracted. So it's still the same equation that we had initially. So for this part, you factorize. So we'll have 4 into bracket. Then when you factorize here, remember it's now a perfect square. So we simply look at x squared. What is the square root? Is x. Then you copy the first sign plus. What is the square root of 49 over 64? It is 7 all over 8. So it's a perfect square. But for this part, you take 13 all over 4 minus 49 all over 64. So you subtract using LCM, or you can use a calculator directly. It will be able to give you. So you'll get 159 all over 64. So if you look at it carefully, it is in this format, whereby our A is the 4 outside the bracket. Then this part, x plus b, is what we are having here. Then our q is what we are having here. So the question asked you to state the values of a, b, and q. So our a, you'll pick the value outside, which is equals to 4. Then our b, you'll pick the value that we are adding to x plus b. So we'll take 7 over 8. Then our q, will take this value, 159 all over 64. But remember, in such a case, we have to simplify and give a proper fraction, which is 9 whole number and 15 all over 16. Can get more questions in this area and practice so that you can grasp the concept.